What's up, YouTube? This your boy Civil Wolf of Civil Wolf TV. I'm back with my man OG Frank Nitty. Nitty, how you doing, my brother?
Man, I'm great, man. I'm blessed. Like I like to tell everybody, man, when you're free, man, the possibilities are endless. As always, I like to start my episodes out by asking each of the YouTubers, man, out there, man, to join in on my campaign, especially those in Maryland. The right to their legislators asking for my little brother Bobby Williams' case to be reopened. And because this is the 10th episode, and now I'm happy to say that they kind of giving me a show, to talk to y'all a little bit more. But however, I know it's a lot of gaps in the story that y'all didn't get to hear. And during my show, there's times that I will speak back about the parts that y'all might have missed or still want to hear because the story wasn't complete. But because this is a 10th episode, I have to go ahead and kind of skip forward a little bit into what led to me getting back out.
Okay, Nitty, let's catch the people up, right? Because we talking about, you did 30 years. You had double life plus 141. You did the 30 and gave the one life on 141 years back. Okay, okay, that's where we're gonna start from.
Right.
Okay.
I got time served. After I did 30, I got time served. Well, I actually got life, all suspended, but 30. Right. That was the plea bargain. Right. So anyway, which I had 30 in. So anyway, what really led to me wanting to get out, and this is towards everybody, but especially for those who said that I didn't learn anything while I was in prison. One of the things that that I felt, because I started seeing a lot of my friends die off. Some was getting sent to other jails. Every once in a blue moon, somebody might get out. So it gave me a great sense of loneliness where I really didn't. A lot of the new guys was coming in prison and I really didn't know them. I mean, they might have heard of me and we talk and this vibe, but it wasn't that same bond, that same friendship that I had with my friends, right? So it kind of turned me into an introvert, so to speak, right? So I kind of, you know, drowned this pain in the libraries. So as I believe that I spoke about, I read a lot while I was in prison, and but one of the things I started doing was I started studying the law, right? And once I started studying the law, I started liking it because here it was. I look at politicians and all these other big corporate people, this and that, and I say, man, they break the law, but they know how to get around it. And then I started seeing the gangster in it. Like coming up, when you really in this life, you got to, in order for, and I'm speaking for young men, in order for you to really something catch your interest, you have to really, it got to be something you like, something you feel that you can really get into, and in this particular situation, I started seeing the gangster in it. I say, man, they breaking the law, but they breaking it just enough not to make the actual government or whoever come after them, the state, whatever, come after them. I said, and I started saying, wow. And I said, so it's not about a black and white, it just who know the game better. So I really started, it was like an epiphany. So I started studying the law, studying the law, studying the law. So then I started getting a real longing and a need to get out. I said, hey man, I'm learning the law pretty good, and to the point, man, I might can start trying to get out. And so I started working on it even more. So then you had some guys, cause they used to see me in there every day and this and that. So they started like asking me to work on the cases, right? And so I said, man, well look, I'm just starting out myself. They say, man, no, you doubting yourself. They said, man, you really good. So I started working on guys' cases. I actually got a guy out, right? Um, then I started working on my case, and I'm working on my case. But at first, like anybody been in prison and been around guys who have, you know, they real sharp in the law. It's a thing where they can get everybody out but themselves, and that's always was a big fear of mine. So as I was looking, trying to find an issue that could possibly get me back out, in the meantime of that, I started writing every law college in the country. Like I would like if I had girlfriends or whatever during the time, and instead of saying, "Hey, could you run do this and that," something really not geared towards me getting back out, I said, "Look, I need you to get online and give me the address to, this law college, and send me a list of legal colleges around the country." So I would write them, I would write them, I would write them, I would write them, and by the time I finished, I had written every law college in the country, right? And so I started on my next quest. I started writing lawyers, asking lawyers, could they possibly take my case pro bono? I said, man, I knew a little bit about the law, but I'm no attorney. And I would explain this to them, and then I was dealing with a young lady, wonderful woman by the name of Ann Davis. And she was really smart, man, and she was really somebody that was in my corner. And so she said, won't you start presenting it as a packet when you write these people? Because even when I was writing the law colleges, I was just asking them, hey man, could y'all look into my case, right? But I wasn't really getting into what the issue was about. And so I was writing lawyers, and I was presenting it in a packet, like she was saying. But I wasn't getting any positive responses. So by the time I got an actual positive response, I got it from a lawyer, and she said, "Well, I can't." It was a female. It was a female attorney. She said, "Well, look, I'll take your case pro bono, but I can't take it right now." So it gave you a little hope, but really not much. But man, still having that faith and not being shooken by that, and staying determined. Lo and behold, uh, probably about a week, no more than two later, a lawyer by the name of Daniel J. Wright responded to my letter. Wonderful guy, and even better friend. We're still friends up to this day. I talk to him often. Um, when I sent him, I sent him the packet and everything, and I remember what he said. Man, he wrote me and said, "Look, let me take a look at your case." And man, that was the best news I had heard in definitely over 20 years at that time. Right? That was best news because anybody who ever dealt with the Maryland justice system, trying to represent yourself, no matter how good your issue is and how well you know the law, our justice system doesn't respect that. They only respect the fact that one of theirs could say that, and they accept what theirs players would say, because they feel like, hey, you didn't go to the schools we went to. You didn't, you didn't go to the law schools, the colleges, any of that. You didn't go to any of that. So, who are you to come in here and tell us the law? Especially somebody who learned it in prison. So he actually wrote me, man, and it's a funny story. So when I sent him my stuff, I said, man, look, I said, I don't want to start out lying to you. I said, so I got several cases. I said, but I said, they all have the exact same issue. He said, man, that's impossible. I said, no, it's not. He said, no judge would make that same mistake that many times. I said, well, mine did. He said, well, I tell you what. He said, if you can show me where this judge made that mistake that many times, he said, I'll take your cases. I sent them my cases, the parts of my transcript where showing where the judge messed up at. Because I had, I've been saying the same thing for years, really since, my God, since like 1997. But they wasn't respecting it because it was coming from me. I've even had one judge to tell me, he said, man, when I was been telling him about this issue, he said, what judge did you go in front of when you first presented this? And I told him, but he asked me the dates and I couldn't remember. He said, I'm not a judge who will make the law. He said, but I will say that I don't think that our laws have caught up to your theory yet. He's right. It actually took them, I believe it was in, where they actually started being honest about it, right? when the things I was saying. So a guy by the name of Charles Hempel, I read about his case, and I studied his case because we had the same judge, and the judge made the same mistake in his case. So what I did was I stayed in the library and I looked for any case, and I went in alphabetical order. I looked for any case where this judge had presided over. And the more cases I found, and he had been doing this, and people didn't know any better, right? So, and to tell you what he did, and I'll tell you what it means in plain English in a second. But what he did was he told the jury that they could compare the things that they do in their everyday life with the reasonable doubt instruction. And then he went on to say, based upon a convincing grounds, based upon a convincing ground of probability, right, to a moral certainty. Now, broken down into plain English, all this means is this. If you think that the nigga probably did it, then that's good enough. That's enough to find him guilty. But reasonable doubt says that you have to have evidence. You can't say, you probably did it because, as far as I'm concerned, the judge probably did it. Right? So, and this is not me being disrespectful, but this is, to judges or to the court system. This is just me being real. So anyway, I found cases. So when I presented it, and this is right before I met this attorney, Daniel J. Wright. So I had presented this to the court. And so the court said, well, you're right, but there's nothing in Maryland law that says that that first case, Charles Hempel, was meant to be applied retroactively. So basically, you're shit out of luck. Okay? but I still didn't give up. And that's really the moral of my story, is about will and determination and going after what you really want and what you believe that you deserve. And what I did in here was I waited. I said, man, somebody has to break the ice. Somebody is going to get a crisis of conscience and actually apply the law as it's been written. And in 2011, a case came out by the name of Ricky Savoy. And I guess by this time, the Court of Appeals had enough of the lower courts turning guys down, knowing that this law was meant to be applied retroactively. And so when I showed my attorney the work I have done, and it really made me so proud because this was coming from an attorney, right? And I know I studied so hard to get this degree and that degree and this degree. So I remember when he first read my brief that I said, man, this is what I want to present to the court. He said, man, did you do this yourself? I said, yes, I did. He said, man, this is really good. He said, man, it's probably, man, one of the best ones I've seen come out of prison. I said, man, thank you. So I never forget this. He's seen the passion and the respect that I had for the law. But I think what he was impressed by, that all the cases that I told him about, I could cite them verbatim without looking at it. I can tell him certain parts of the cases without looking at the case, as if I was still reading it. And so we was going through that, and so I never forget this. He came to see me on an attorney visit, and he was on the way to a graduation for an attorney. I mean, well, excuse me, I'm skipping a part, my fault. He had, his secretary, one of his secretaries had met a young lady that she was a victim of domestic violence. And at the time before she became a citizen, she had basically couldn't really go to the police because she was still, she was an alien at the time. All right, so one thing I really like about him, he believes in betting on the underdog. And not everybody can do that, right? Not everybody can do that because he believes that, and I have to say I'm living proof that he's right. He believes that he can take the underdog and come out with a victory, right? And that's, man, that takes, and it's not arrogant. It's a real self-confidence that's well-deserved. So back to us. So when I showed him the cases and I was able to, when we talked to him, so you got to tell me about the story of this young lady who had helped, and she had went on to become a citizen and then, go on to law school. Like, brute thing, actually became an attorney. And so I was just so fascinated by the story. I said, man, I just wish I just get one opportunity, man, like that. I said, man, if I just had that opportunity, I say, man, it's my life would be completely different. And he said, well, that's what I'm up here to talk to you about. And he said, man, if I put you through school, will you go? So it was such a shock, but it was like, to me, it was funny at the same time, like, man, you already know the answer, right? Like, hell yeah, right? So he said, okay. And I started taking paralegal courses through the mail, right? And a lot of the police in the prisons, they didn't like that, right? Because they seen that I was using it as a weapon against them, but it was because of the wrong that they was doing, right? And so like it's guys, which I'm gonna have him. I already spoke to him. I'm gonna have him on the show. Uh, he was one of my students that I had started teaching law classes. This was while I was still dealing with my own case. I had started teaching law classes, and it got so much. It got so bad at one point that they actually put me on what they call admin seg to keep me from teaching the law classes because I started learning both criminal as well as civil law, right? And so, in the meantime, in between time, while I was still taking the courses and things of that nature, uh, he said, well, look, he said, you good, you know the law. He said, but I want you to understand the law as lawyers do. So one of the first things he did, he had 3 subscriptions, legal magazines sent to me, and he would, I guess he was getting more than one because he would ask me about certain things in there to give him my opinion, and we would have these beautiful conversations about the law. And so even after that, even after that had took place, they got in law colleges where students they write papers and sometimes they get published. So what he started doing was sending these to me, and once he would send them to me, I would have to study them and basically write an essay about it, right? And what I felt, and for him to be reassured that one, his money wasn't being wasted, that I actually was learning the law, right, as I should. Um, One of the greatest things, one of the most honorable things that I believe has happened to me since I've been out is that I actually got a chance to shake hands with a judge who had heard of my situation and met me in the court. And it was like, I know to street dudes, probably like, oh man, that shit bullshit, but man, when you have reached a level, I think in a game that you can have crossover appeal, that's gangster to me. I mean, just keeping it real. I'm just getting stacked. That's gangster to me because I've never been in a judge's presence before without handcuffs and shackles on. And for anybody who has had the blessing of getting out of prison, or they were serving a significant amount of time, you know what it feels like to, I'm not even gonna say cheat fate because it wasn't fate if it didn't happen, but cheat the justice system jaws of death, right? And I pull myself out there, right? And I don't say it as a brag or a boast, but here I was. I went from a 13-year-old kid with no parents to be trained to be a hitman to going to prison twice, right? Going to prison twice because they sent me to adult prison when I wasn't even 16 yet. I was still 15. But we'll talk about that down the line on the Frank Nitty show. However, I went from all that, went from running wild when I first got in prison, right? Went to when, the gang banging scene first hit, Maryland justice system, what we know as the G-Wall, right? I went from that and not only became a blood, but became a big homie in my hood while I was still learning the law, was still taking paralegal courses, while I was still being a husband. So I feel good about that. I've already had people to speak to me about book deals, right, since I've been out. Uh, I was just recently given the great news that instead of leaving everybody wondering, about my story because it has so many gaps in it, that creator is going to actually give me the Frank Nitty show. He's going to create a show around me, which I can't be more happy and appreciative because it's a number of issues that I speak to people about every day and that I really don't believe that they're being properly addressed, especially on these internets and things like that. It's like the only thing that's really being addressed is what happened to what big name in that moment. But it's real issues out here, right? We got coming up. It's in February. I can't remember. I think it's February the 8th, where in Maryland they get ready to come up for legislature, where they already had a vote on the Second Chance Act. See, because you got people like myself. I started out one way, then I came out another, and I didn't have to become phony and no disrespect to white people, try to sound white. I didn't have to do none of that. I did it being me. And I'm out here now and I'm excited. I'm excited that I'm out here now because I say on the one hand, man, if I didn't lose 30 years of my life, man, what the hell could I have became having the mind that I now have? But then I tell myself, I said, nah, I say, everything happened to you for a reason. And it led up to this. And said, man, now that you out here, now that you had the knowledge, now that you had a standing, now that you have real friends. Because like I said, I used to tell a lot of my little homies in there, I said, man, a lot of us make the mistake of believing that the person who we have fun with, who we jumped on a nigga with, you know what I mean, who we smoke with, fuck a bitch with, we have a tendency to say, boy, that's my friend. But not in reality. He just a motherfucker you have fun with. He like doing the same fucking shit that you like doing at the time. But what struggle have y'all been in? What situations have y'all ever been in that y'all had to stand back to back? Or both of y'all put y'all backs up against the wall and say, man, life, okay, come on, bring everything you got. Because we going to fight it, man, till we can't fight no more. I got real friends like that now. Man, I got real friends, man. I'm supposed to go hang out with one tomorrow. I got real friends that know friendship and appreciate friendship. Like, for niggas, for dudes out there, man, they 10 toes down in the game, and they out there and they got a man in the joint, right? They know they might show enough fuck with their man. You know how hard it is for a nigga to sit down there and write a nigga a letter and this out the blue, just write a nigga a letter and send a nigga a couple of dollars. Now how hard that is for guys. It's easy for women because women are natural nurturers. So it's in them. But when it come down to men, and like I said, I got real friends that would do that. One of them, my man, Big E, man, would just sit down there, man, out the fucking blue, and write me and say, boy, look, we ain't gonna cover dollars. Boy, it ain't nothing but a paragraph, but man, that shit means so motherfucking much. And sit down there and say, boy, ain't gonna cover dollars. Boy, keep your head up in that zoo. You're like, wow. Two other dudes. One definitely, a dude by the name of Troy Balboa. And this dude did in my whole bit with me. Like, I come back out here now, and I say, man, where the fuck happened to the loyalty? What happened to the motherfucking honor in the game? And like, I almost feel like yo was coming out the motherfucking joint on what that shit called? I'm gonna get you sucked with the motherfucking goldfish in the heels and shit. I like, cause the game done changed so much, and I said, damn, is this what I sacrificed my motherfucking life for? Like, I'm trying to bond with my son. Right, me and him, it's like we not beefing. I don't want nobody, take that out of context. But to really be with my son as a man, when I left, my son was a toddler. My daughters are just natural daddy girls, right? Especially my oldest Nia. She's such a daddy girl. They call her Frank Nitty Jr. Right? So. It's like I look at the way this shit is out here now, and I'm like, this is something this is something that's really blew my fucking mind when I looked on this shit. They put me on to Murder Inc. Man, I'm telling you, they should call that shit Murder Inc. They should call that shit whatever fucking state they living in, dumbest fucking criminals, right? You got motherfuckers going on here, ain't nothing gangster about that. You better go back and do your history on gangsters. Gangsters try to get away with shit. If gangsters even leave a body on the motherfucking ground, this will make a statement, right? You got motherfuckers going on fucking YouTube and whatever the fuck the Murder Inc., whatever this crazy shit they got out there now, and they confessing the murder. They going on this motherfucking talk about, yeah, boy, I'm smoking on this, I'm with this patch on, this and that. Like, that got some fucking gangsta in it. Nigga, you just sent yourself to jail. But this is what they're trying, this is the funny part. YouTube, I really want y'all to tune in on this. And please give me your comments on this if you're viewing this. They get on that motherfucker. After they done got on, what that shit called, IG and all that shit, and they talk about, boy, I did this, boy, I smoked this nigga, this and that. And then when they get on book and say, man, one of them bitch ass niggas told on me. Yeah, you see him every day in the fucking mirror, you. Yeah, well, bitch ass nigga, man, he told on you. You got on this motherfucker and you think that that's some gangster shit or that make you go hard. Nigga, whether you know it or not, one, you just definitely got yourself convicted. Ain't no ifs, ands, buts about. It's what the state's attorney like to call a slam dunk. That's what the fuck that is, right? And what you did was pretty much kill your fucking chances of ever getting the fuck back out, right? So, choose one, right or left, whichever one you want to marry, because you're going to be using both of your motherfucking hands until your dick just stop working, right? And stop liking real bitches. Paper bitches is getting ready to be your new best bitches. That, all the porn bitches they got in there, man, you gonna know all their names. You'll be able to tell shit about what they used to do. But I thought you took my time.
1 minute.
Oh, okay. So, you gonna get all that. You gonna get all that. You gonna get used to sitting in the motherfucking cell smelling another man's shit. You know what I mean? Because when y'all locked in the cell, where the fuck else he gonna go? right? You gonna be used to, if y'all got a TV and he got TV, you got a TV, you gonna get used to, put the motherfucking headphones in, you know what I mean? Or and you won't get used to, depending on whether y'all are cool or not. Y'all probably gonna go ahead and get it in on a hand tip or a knife tip, however y'all choose to do it. Couple times, cause that's prison, right? As one of the comments like to say, what a real prison. Oh, and this is something I also want to really give a special thanks to all the beautiful young ladies who for giving me such sweet comments. Right, I can't remember all of y'all by name at this moment, but I will say one I kind of remember. I don't know if I got it verbatim, but yes, I like all of y'all to the Milky Way and back as well. And I thank you for the donation. And I ask you continue. My cash app will be at the end of this. And like I said, we just getting started. I promise y'all that. We just getting started. We're going to talk about, they said they're going to basically give me a creative license, so to speak. So we're going to touch into real life topics. Not what rapper, this got to change, snatch. I mean, hey, if that come up, then it come up, right? But we're going to talk about real life shit. We're going to talk about, like I said, domestic violence. We're going to talk about how men is getting the short end of the stick on a lot of shit when it comes down to men versus women. We're going to hit it all, right? So, man, until then, man, y'all take care, man, and I'll see y'all on the Frank Nitty Show.
What's your cash app, Nitty?
My cash app is capital OHTF20.
Silver Wolf TV, y'all. Thanks for watching. Don't remember hit that subscribe button, comment, share the video. Peace out.